Hello everybody, welcome back to another Spooky Story Sunday. Today we're going to be reading from the state of Florida, from of course the website yourghoststories.com. Links will be in the description. This story is called Suicide Haunting. This was written back in 2011 and it is by Lovies_Marie. So let's get started. When I was a small child, I remember seeing my grandmother often, even after she passed away. These experiences actually led me to develop a fear of being alone, and an even worse fear of the dark. Over the years, my fears have subsided, and I haven't really had any problems the last 3 or 4 years, but that all changed July 16th of the year 2011. When I moved to Florida, I quickly befriended a lady 40 years my senior, Leslie. Leslie is a great woman who manages a rundown motel on the outskirts of town. From time to time, she'll have my husband, Joe, and I do odd jobs around the old place. We have become very close to her and would do anything for her. So when she called and asked us to come down, we immediately got in our car and headed toward the motel. She explained that a young man had checked in the day before and that he wouldn't answer the room door. I didn't think much of it, as the guests are known to leave without returning the keys. I left and went to work only to have my husband call a few hours later, explaining that the young man had ended his life in that motel room. Of course I felt bad for the person and his family, but I didn't think much of it. I had never met the man, and I'm not a very emotional person at all. After a few days, the police had cleared the scene so that it could be cleaned up. Leslie couldn't stand to do it, and she didn't have the $500 required to hire a professional crime scene cleaning crew. She reluctantly requested that Joseph and I clean the room for her. I do not like seeing things like that. However, Joe had recently gotten laid off, and we could use the $200 she was offering. I figured that it would take us a few hours to do the job, a quick and easy couple $100. I have never been more wrong about something in my life. When we arrived that morning, the air was thick with sadness. Leslie gave me another chance to back out of our deal, but a deal is a deal, and I decided to proceed. As I approached the dreaded room of 106, something told me to turn around, get back in the car, and get home as fast as I could. I was shaking, getting cold chills, and tears were running down my face. I swallowed my feelings and entered the room. From start to finish, it only took 3 hours to do the job, but it did not end there. A few days afterwards, I was sitting on the couch searching the internet when I got the overwhelming feeling that I was being watched. I got up and fixed every curtain in the house. I know there was no way anyone could see me, but the feeling persisted. Before I could even sit back down, I heard someone faintly say, Billy? Stuttering the first letter. I was the only person home at the time, and we only have one neighbor, and he was gone as well. It made me so uncomfortable to the point that I left the house. That night, as I lay down, the feeling was back, and much worse. I could hear my smaller dog, which is a 6-month-old pug, growling, which he seldom does, so I raised up to see what was the matter, and through the glass doors leading into the bathroom, I could see a smoky shadow standing inside. I tried to dismiss it, thinking that I was perhaps seeing things. A short time later, I could smell the scent of vanilla cigars. I was disturbed to the point I made my husband walk around the house looking for intruders. I absolutely hate the smell of cigars, so I know that no one was smoking in my home. The smell was radiating from the bathroom/laundry room area, but nothing was there, and after a while the scent disappeared, and I was able to fall asleep. For the next few days, there were only little things like the TV being turned off and on, things being moved, hearing someone mumble in the next room. I had felt something touch the top of my head as I was washing my face, things that most people would dismiss. Nothing was really bad, except for the feeling of being watched. It was so bad that my fears all returned tenfold. I can't stand to be alone at all. I leave every light in the house on. My husband was to the point that he thought I was becoming schizophrenic, which really hurt because I knew these things were happening to me. Well, that ended today when the biggest thing yet happened. We were sitting on the couch, which is at the back of the living room beside the bedroom door, and behind the rocking chair watching TV. The chair began rocking. Looking around, we see that our 2 dogs are laying beside us, so thinking that the cat got inside of the chair, we walked over to get her out. We soon realized the cat wasn't there. We were walking back to the couch when the bedroom door opened. Doors open sometimes because of drafts or leveling issues, but this was different. It swung so fast and hard that we knew someone had thrown it open. As we stood there startled and confused, the washing machine that sits beside the bathroom door actually unplugged and moved about 5 feet from the wall in front of those doors. It had turned around so that it was facing us, about a 180-degree turn. My husband promptly put the washer back, closed the door, and we left the house. We have only lived in this house for 4 months. Right after moving in, we lost the baby, and shortly after that, I found a small child's handprints on the inside of the windows of my car. But other than that, there were no ghostly activities. That is until we cleaned room 106. Now, I'm plagued by strange things. I even have daymares, like nightmares, about a man that keeps saying, "I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean it." I believe that the person I see is the same young man that committed suicide. However, I do not know for sure, as I have never actually seen him and cannot find a picture of him anywhere. I don't know what he wants, or if he just got attached to us while we were in the room where he chose to end his life. All I know for sure is that it is not over yet. The end. Okay, guys, so that was a little bit of a sad, traumatic story that I've read to you guys. Now, they lived in the house. She didn't write any more stories that, it's 2011. So she didn't upgrade us on the site, as far as I know. But they lived in the house for 4 months. And I think that's still early. Like, typically, when you move into a haunted house, it does take a few months until the haunting of the house, becomes more prominent, I guess you would say. But I honestly think that with the ghost she hears says, I didn't do it, I didn't mean to, it does kind of sound like it was the guy that was from the hotel, and maybe he did attach themselves to them, maybe he's looking for somebody to talk to maybe even, tell his family, but I don't know exactly, and neither does she. I hope the guy does find peace in the afterlife, and it's very sad, and I know, suicide is, an awful thing and stuff, but I feel like people, I know you think, your life is ending, and, you just want to die, and, that's awful, it's very awful, but honestly, I do think that suicidal people should at least think things a little bit through before they kill themselves. If they're going to actually kill themselves. And I'm not saying to kill yourself. Do not do it, by the way. Do not kill yourself. Ever. Nobody should do this. But if you are, because it does happen, and it will happen whether people say do or don't, try to be a little bit convenient for other people. Especially in, a rundown motel. Not really a rundown motel, but, a hotel that's not popular. It costs money for them. They have, because of you, this is gonna sound horrible, but, yeah, it is, your fault, if you're gonna kill yourself, and, it's kind of rude, if you are going to kill yourself, do it, somewhere, where nobody really has to worry about their own expenses, or their own property, you know what I mean? Try to do it in a more, this is awful. Okay, so just like kind of forget about that, but also at the same time, if you are suicidal, think of other people, you know, try not to think so much of yourself, because that is a problem with people who are suicidal, is they think a lot of themselves, and doing that is actually causing them even more suicidal, to be honest. But yeah, just like think of others and like think of how they will actually feel. Don't think of the negatives. Don't say like, oh, they won't care about me, because that goes back to you anyways. But think about them for a little bit. And you know, we're all people, we're all humans. We all have love and hate within us, unfortunately. But don't kill yourself. I mean, I do feel bad for the guy, definitely, and his family, and I hope they are, you know, doing well. I kind of wish she did update us a little bit on this, like, I don't know, maybe, like, just, like, little things are happening and then it just kind of subsided, or who knows what happened, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think she's being haunted by the guy from the hotel? Do you think it's, you know, from her house? Like, someone could have, you know, killed themselves in her house, and it's just kind of a coincidence there. But it kind of does make sense a little bit that, you know, he attached himself to them because he saw them and he wanted to communicate with them and things like that. Wanted to probably give a message to his family. But it is a sad story. It's sad when people do kill themselves. Yeah, I just don't have much to say about this story except for, you know, don't die. Don't, we're all gonna die, but don't kill yourself. You know, there's so many reasons not to, and it might not seem like it's gonna get better, but it might take years, but, you know, things do get better, and this is like becoming a suicidal awareness video. But that's really all I have to say is, you know, just keep up high hopes. And it's hard, I know, like I've had depression before. A lot of people, almost 99.99% of people living in this world has had depression and even suicidal thoughts. So, but I'm going to end there. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Also, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, like up this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!